Republican senator is looking to get more big government into your life to ensure that you don't look at porn. Yeah, that's right. Senator Mike Lee of Utah has reintroduced a bill that has failed several times before that would effectively ban pornography at the federal level. That's right. Here are the details. The Interstate Obscenity Definition Act, or IODA, introduced by Lee and Illinois Republican Representative Mary Miller on Thursday, would change the Supreme Court's 1973 Miller test for determining what qualifies as obscene. Oh, interesting. Now, Lee said in a press release, obscenity isn't protected by the First Amendment, but hazy and unenforceable legal definitions have allowed extreme pornography, and gee, I wonder what you're looking at, Mike, to saturate American society and reach countless children. Our bill updates the legal definition for obscenity for the internet age so this content can be taken down and its peddlers prosecuted. Okay. So what exactly is the Miller test here? Well, I mean, you've heard of the saying, you know it when you see it, right? And that was during that 1973 Supreme Court case. But basically, it's whether the average person applying contemporary community standards would find the work taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest, whether the work depicts or describes in a patently offensive way sexual conduct specifically defined by the applicable state law, and whether the work taken as a whole lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. Now, Lee's, according to his press release, he says his bill would redefine obscenity within the Communications Act of 1934 as content that taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest in nudity, sex, or excretion. Again, browser history. And depicts, describes, or represents actual or simulated sexual acts with the objective meant to arouse, titillate, because you can't have that, or gratify the sexual desires of a person, which, taken as a whole, or taken by a whole, no, not doing, lacks serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value. I'm sorry, I can't help myself here. These people are ridiculous. These bills are ridiculous. Okay, that's really it. Okay, but yeah, apparently, you know, when it comes to you know, I guess after a hard day of work, you want to go look at some internet porn. Mike Lee's like,
can't let that happen.
No, you're not allowed. Big government is not going to allow you to look at that stuff. Okay. Not interested. Okay, we don't want that. Now, most importantly, it completely removes the intent requirement from current law, which currently prohibits the transmission of obscenity for the purposes of abuse, threats, or harassment. So, yeah. This would mean that anyone sharing or posting content that is in any way sexual or intended to arouse would be guilty of a federal crime. So much for love and freedom, everybody. Can't have it. Look, here's the thing, okay? Yes, this is Mike Lee's bill, but it's Project 2025 in action, okay? Not only are they trying to destroy, like, people's ability to look at naked images online, okay? And by the way, I'm not saying that pornography doesn't have issues. There are labor issues that surround it. You know, there's consent issues that surround it. There's perhaps even the, you know, unrealistic depictions of relationships and reality that could be an issue. You don't want minors being able to access that, obviously, because that's going to cause potential problems. There's also potential problems of, you know, people that try to use that to escape reality and then harm themselves as a result, harm relationships and things like that. That stuff does happen, but it is very, very minuscule, okay? And so, look, again, pornography is fine in moderation. And as long as there's good labor practices and consent, I'm all for it. All for it, right? But here's the thing about these bills, okay? Right-wingers are going to try to use this against trans people. What? Hold on, wait. What does it have to do with trans people? Look, redefining pornography was part of Project 2025, okay? And what they want to do is basically, if you are a trans person and you post a picture of yourself online, Republicans want to call that pornographic and then criminalize you for it. Oh, you're posting pornography. What? What are you talking about? There's nothing pornographic about this image. It titillates something. Just because you're being titillated, yeah, and you know, you're massively, I guess, a chaser or you're in the closet or whatever, does not mean that the person who's posting this stuff is a criminal. Okay, but that's what they're doing. That's what they're trying to do. And they're trying to criminalize literal existence of transgender people while claiming that they're, of course, they're protecting the children, right? Oh, they're protected. I'll protect the children. Well, hold on here. This is not about age gating online pornography or anything like that, or any of the measures that would potentially protect children, right? No, this is about ensuring that no one can see content that might arouse or titillate someone else. Oh, well, yeah, you know what? Just because you can't arouse your wife, Mike Lee, doesn't mean that you need to be taking your hang-ups out on everyone else, because that's what you're doing. But the irony, of course, of saying that you're protecting the children is, I mean, yes, massive irony. Okay, the people that are harming your children tend to be MAGA for the most part. All right. Again, Ricky Wayne, or I'm sorry, Ricky Wynn, recently was charged with, this is a MAGA influencer, recently charged with creating, what is it? Child sexual abuse material. Justin Eichhorn, who's a Republican in Minnesota, recently was arrested for soliciting sex from what he believed was a minor, but was actually a federal agent. Then you had a former leader of a Texas megachurch, one of Donald Trump's spiritual advisors, who also allegedly sexually abused a child. MAGA is more of a threat to your children than any of the stuff that I've mentioned before. Okay, this is nothing but projection, y'all. Projection. Okay, but now, look, this is a bill that is not only completely unnecessary, but again, it also harms sex workers. Okay, I believe sex work is real work. I believe sex workers need to be protected. All right, it's also against the LGBTQ community, and also is deeply unconstitutional and deeply anti-freedom, which again, when you look at, oh yeah, no, we're the party of freedom and freedom fries and all that stuff, but we want to ban your porn. What? And you know, look, Ted Cruz, biggest so-called pro-freedom guy, limited to people in Texas to what, 6 sex toys, voted to do that. And these are some of the most repressed people on the planet. Okay. Now, Ricky Joy Levy, president and CEO of the Woodhull Freedom Foundation, said about Lee's bill that it would make the definition of obscenity so broad that TV shows like Game of Thrones could fall under its purview and get banned, I guess. Robert Corn Revere, chief counsel of the Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression, added, "It really struck me that there's nothing about that definition that I think would survive constitutional review." Yeah, not only that, but Lee seems to believe that virtually any depiction of human sexuality is obscene. And that's really kind of the point, says Levy. All right. To loosen the definition of obscenity so it's more broad and the government is removed of the obligation to prove patent offensiveness. In that way that, this would give the government a lot more leeway to target porn producers and distributors with criminal sanctions. So, yeah, it's about attempting to crush freedom and liberty while inserting big government into our personal lives. I thought you were against that whole thing. The Republicans supposed to be against that. But no, they're massively in favor of it. Okay? Government small enough to get into your bedroom and be inserted somewhere. That's pretty much it. Look, here's the thing, all right? Nobody cares what you're spanking it to, all right? As long as it features adults and is consensual. That's it. And look, yes, I just said nobody cares, but really, a lot of the right wing seems to. Even though a lot of the right wing is some of the bigger, consumers of pornography. So, but they're obsessed though. They're obsessed with putting themselves and your personal life into your bedroom. It's disgusting, but not at all surprising. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.